All right, hey guys, don't mind my shirt and this white thing. I don't know what this is, but I'm just home doing housework and stuff today, so I have nowhere special to go. I have to do a return later, but anyway, so don't mind me. You guys know I don't dress for the camera. I'm not here to impress anybody with that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about hormone replacement therapy. I'm not going to really get into it. I've made some videos about this subject. Actually, I think a lot of those videos are deleted now because I did delete a bunch of my older videos. I already talked about this. YouTube went back into my history and flagged a video, and I kind of panicked because I had a lot of videos. So I just ended up deleting them, and now I'm just slowly but surely trying to kind of put some stuff back up. So I don't know if I have one currently on my channel about this, but I do want to put it out there for now because the world's gone crazy. The world has legit gone crazy. And, you know, there's times when I just want to like hide in a cave. And then the other part of me is like, no, you talk too much for that. Like you need to keep going. Like you need to keep putting stuff out there, and whoever hears it, hears it. Whoever takes it in, takes it in. Whoever leaves it, leaves it. Like it is what it is. But I'm not going to just sit by and let nonsense go unchallenged. I guess that's just who I am. I definitely need to call things out when I see them. So the whole HRT thing, and of course this could go down, you know, other avenues as well. People doing all sorts of stuff to their bodies, manipulating. It's all manipulation. Okay, that's all it is. It's not true healing, it's manipulation. And you know, root cause is not being addressed at all with any of these perspectives. It's all just a bullet fix. It's biohacking, you know, however you want to look at it. All right. It's not healing. None of this is healing. Okay. Healing is about restoration of harmony and homeostasis and balance within the body. It's actually healing and repairing the body so that the body works in its most optimal state. That is what healing is. It's not about manipulating with all sorts of substances and all sorts of things from the outside. It's about healing the body, okay, so that the body works the way nature intended, the way our biology and physiology is designed to work. But our system, because it requires, you know, slaves, you know, they give you a tiny bit of truth and a whole bunch of lies, and then they omit a whole bunch of information so that people cannot make really properly informed decisions. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about HRT with menopausal women, and I want to talk about like premenstrual stuff, menstrual difficulties, premenopause, menopause, that type of thing. And I'm not going to get into it too much today, but I want to just like do some highlights, okay? And I want to pull in pregnancy, okay? Because pregnancy, the concepts that I'm going to talk about tie in directly to what's going on with menopause, but just in the opposite way. Okay, so it's just reversed. All right, but I'm going to talk about those two things, but I just want to kind of look at like a woman's menstrual cycle, and then the whole putting young girls on the pill, needing HRT at menopause, and everything is, you know, better living through chemistry, right? This is industrial revolution bullshit, because this is where it all started with the whole, you know, synthetic reality that we live in today. And this has been the agenda all along, is to push this completely synthetic reality, moving everybody towards the singularity, right? This whole crazy shit going on. It's all connected. And if you listen to my videos, you know I've connected the dots for you. It's all connected, okay? It's to remove us from our own primal blueprint. It is to remove us from our own healing abilities. It's to remove us from our own responsibility to heal our bodies, even though we didn't create the problem in the first place. We are just a product of this world, this reality. But once we become conscious, awake, and aware, we have a responsibility to ourselves to try to get ourselves into the best possible place that we possibly can. A lot of people don't see this as a responsibility, and they just hand it over to other people, and those other people don't want the best for you. They don't. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care how nice they are. And I've said this a million times, your doctor isn't your friend. They're not showing up at your funeral if you die. Okay? They're not. Especially if you die from an undesirable effect from something they prescribe you or give you. Okay? They're not showing up at your funeral. And we have to stop trusting the wrong people. This is just my message that I have been pumping out forever, is humans trust the wrong people. And you really shouldn't trust anybody more than you trust yourself. But that's, that's a whole nother thing. So a female body is a lot more cyclical and variable than a male's body, okay? Because we are fertile, and fertile women, have this very, very, very complex system. And it is very dynamic and very complex. And when your body is out of balance and out of alignment, the reproductive system is often one of the first systems to start malfunctioning. Okay, this is just nature, right? If you think about, how nature really prioritizes reproduction, it's a very important system for nature, because without reproduction, your species dies. Okay, so when you look at nature's perspective, it does a lot to protect reproductive, fertility. And when there's glitches in the system, when things aren't working well, when we're malnourished, our lifestyle isn't in alignment with our biology, on and on and on, we're oftentimes going to see problems in the reproductive system. And it could be something as simple as period cramps. Okay, period cramps aren't normal. You're not supposed to have them. It's a myth. Okay, we are supposed to have easy, effortless periods, and we are supposed to not have symptoms of PMS. Okay, these are all signs of disease and distress in the body, but nobody takes this seriously, and people just pop Advil and get on the birth control pill, and they don't actually address the root cause. They don't address the real problem. And then they get older, and then, all sorts of stuff. And then you start having symptoms in your 40s, okay? And you're told it's perimenopause, premenopause, perimenopause. And again, myth, okay? It is not. It is malfunctioning of your body that is now once again rearing up because your body is deficient. Your body is not working the way it is designed to work, and you're experiencing disease and distress and symptoms, okay? Yes, your hormones are changing, but it is not supposed to cause those symptoms, okay? This is a sign of distress, okay? It's not because you're losing the fertile estrogen. We have other estrogens that our body continues to make, continues to pump out, okay? It's the one that is directly related to fertility. Our body is starting to make that go away because we don't need it anymore. It is not supposed to cause you a bunch of symptoms, but it will if you are malnourished and if your lifestyle is out of alignment with your biology, okay, and what the human body actually needs. Now, the entire medical system, and even people outside of the medical system, which is baffling to me, so many people in the alternative community are pushing HRT on women, okay, that somehow this fertile estrogen is a miracle. And oh my gosh, if you don't have it, you're estrogen deficient. No, you're not. If you were deficient, your body would want to still make it, but it doesn't in any woman. In any woman. This is the way nature is designed, okay? It's not a flaw. It is not a flaw. It is necessary. It is absolutely necessary so that our body can now conserve energy, go into another phase. We get upgraded to a different operating system, and now we're supposed to go on to live the next half of our life, because we are supposed to live a long time. You guys know that, right? Our DNA is actually set for us to live to be about 120 years old. That's kind of the knowledge right now. Maybe it's even longer. I don't really know, but we're only supposed to be about halfway through our life. All right. And yes, that's the truth. That's the truth, right? So we're getting upgraded, and we're supposed to become the mentors to the younger generation. That's just the way nature operates when it comes to humans. Okay, whales live a long time too. There's not I think there's only 2 species, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's only 2 species that live past reproductive years. Things like wolves, well, animals like wolves and things like that, they do reproduce right up until the end. But even wolves can live to be, kind of old. I mean, not as old as humans by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm just saying, humans and whales literally go on past reproductive years. So nature kind of thinks we're a special group. And I'm not saying better, okay, but we are a unique group. We are a unique group. And it really goes to show this idea that nature definitely wants humans and whales to stick around longer than our reproductive years. So we have some kind of unique relationship with the world that older people and older whales are absolutely necessary for the survival of the species. Okay, so let's just keep it there. And we all know that young people are dumb. All right, they're dumb. I'm sorry, that's the word. That's just the word. Okay, and if there weren't old people around, they probably wouldn't make it, because they need to have that guidance for a very, very long time. And then you talk about raising offspring, and you need to have that wisdom, that older guidance to help guide the young, okay, and protect the young and protect their dumb parents when they're young, okay, because they are dumb. The human frontal lobe doesn't even develop till about 25 years old. And they've actually shown in our society that even adults don't have fully developed frontal lobes. So something is really broken in our society. But that's the whole gist of it, okay, is that human development takes a really, really long time. And, by the time you're 25, you don't just, boom, snap into wisdom. It takes a long time for humans to develop wisdom, okay? And that's why nature wants old people to stick around. We're not supposed to be suffering and miserable, okay, once we hit menopause or a little before or whatever. It's just not the way nature designed us. But we are a diseased culture, okay? So we suffer. All right, we suffer. And I'm tired of hearing that Asian women don't even have a word for menopause. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie. If you understand Asian culture at all, you will understand how that's a lie. Okay, it's actually not true, because they eat soy and shit. No, they suffer. Okay, they do. They just suffer quietly, because Asian women are not complainers, and Asian women are taught to be completely submissive. And Asian women do not talk about this outside of maybe their close friends or what have you, but it is not a social thing. Okay, remember they used to bust their feet, break them all up, and women would tolerate that. They wouldn't complain. They would tolerate that. They didn't walk around crying and complaining that they were in pain all the time and they were miserable, and because this is just their culture. All right, so there's a lot of myths and a lot of lies that we have been told. All right. So where I'm going with this is that we have this dysfunction all over the place. All right, especially for women. And what will happen with some women, let's say a woman has MS, or she has some kind of autoimmune disease, or she has, some other kind of health condition, and she gets pregnant, and her symptoms actually get better, and she feels better while she's pregnant, okay? And she thinks, oh my goodness, I love being pregnant. I actually feel better. My symptoms are better, okay? Wow. Like, I'm doing better. Well, you're really not, okay? What it is that hormones are incredible. They are incredible. Hormones can do amazing things to your body. But what they don't do is they don't heal the root cause. And this is something that people need to be really, really aware of, okay? They don't contain any building blocks to heal per se. They are signal substances, okay? They are things that signal. They're like a conductor, I guess. I guess that's kind of the best way to put it. The conductor, kind of conducting the band, right? Conducting everybody to do their thing. So they're conductors, all right? But they're not physically capable of healing, because they do not contain the proteins, the fats, the cholesterol, the nutrients that are required to actually heal cells. and heal damage in the body. Heal it. Heal the dysfunction. Root cause. Heal it. But women will feel better when they're pregnant, and their doctors will tell them, oh, your body feels better, whatever. The reason is because when you're pregnant with a foreign material inside your body. It's your mate's, right? Your mate's sperm gets into your body, fertilizes the egg, and you have part of his genetic material inside of your body. Normally, a body would want to reject that. Okay? So what it does is it lowers your baseline immune response so that you don't respond to things the same way that you would if you were not pregnant. This is a built-in survival mechanism, okay? It's a good thing, and it's got a little bit of a dark side, okay? And some people call it a trade-off, but I personally don't believe nature does that. I don't believe in the whole evolutionary thing saying that things are a trade-off. I think nature is too spot on for that. You look at some things in nature and you think about the detail that nature went through with certain things, like with a bird's wing, or like the detail is so precise and so specific and so amazing. To think that nature just does things kind of like sloppy, or, oh, there's this, but there's a trade-off. I am not convinced of that perspective, okay? But in our society that is unhealthy, we are surrounded by poisons, we are surrounded by toxins, we are surrounded by so many threats, all right? It appears to be a trade-off, okay? But I don't believe that it really is. And again, I don't really have all this time. Well, I do, but I'm not going to take it right now to get into that rabbit hole, because prior to the agricultural revolution, our ancestors were far healthier than we were, and they didn't have to worry about many of the things that we worry about today because they were much healthier. They were not dealing with all of the additional threats that we are, that weaken our bodies: poisons, chemicals, toxins, people spraying shit every day, and the quality of the food and the crap in our food. And, we are just swimming in things that are not good for our biology and our physiology. Okay, so this body lowering the immune response for a little bit of time so that you can grow this baby does make women just a little bit more vulnerable. Okay, but again, in a healthy environment, it would really be no problem. And her body is not going to respond to a threat unless the body thinks it's a really big threat. All right, so there really isn't much of a trade-off in a really healthy environment. But if a woman is not in a healthy environment, yeah, you could end up catching things and getting things. And these are the women that are getting bacterial infections when they're pregnant, and they're, getting really sick with viral infections. It's because their body is really weak. Okay, they don't have the right nutrition, they don't have the right lifestyle, they're maybe not getting enough sleep, on and on, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's the reality of it. Okay, but for most women, because of this lowering of the immune response, a lot of their symptoms go away and they feel better. But after they have the baby, and after, those hormones start to whatever, the symptoms, start to come back because you were not healed. Hormones don't heal you. Okay? We now need to apply this to menopause. Okay? Your body is actually getting rid of the fertile estrogen, because there's different types of estrogen. Okay, this is the estriadol. It is literally getting rid of it because you don't need it anymore. You're not fertile. Why is your body going to hang on to something you don't need anymore? It's metabolically expensive to make. Your body has to get rid of it and eliminate it, which is expensive metabolically, right? It demands energy. And now your body, would have to deal with something that it doesn't need. Why would your body do that? You don't need it. How can something that you don't need anymore cause you health problems? Just stop and think about that. You don't need it anymore. It's for your fertility system. You don't need it. Why are you miserable without it? Because it was suppressing a lot of your problems, okay? Suppressing them. And this is the hardest thing for people to grasp. Like, what do you mean suppressing? How can a hormone suppress anything? It has to. Your body is trying to make sure that you reproduce and that you remain fertile. So it suppresses certain things so that you can continue to reproduce. That's just nature, okay? Because healthy women don't experience these symptoms when this hormone goes away. They don't experience them. I didn't experience many menopause symptoms at all. Now, I've not had a great childhood, and I made a lot of mistakes in my early adulthood. I thought veganism was a good thing. Like, my frontal lobe wasn't developed, and we didn't have access to the internet. And I fell for some narratives that are absolutely untrue. So I've done a lot of damage to my body. And I also was a very unhealthy person as a child. And I tried to get healthy when I became an adult, like 20 years old. And I started, eating what I thought was a healthier diet, which turned out to be a disaster. But I've been on a health quest my whole life. And then I went carnivore almost 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. And I went through menopause, and it was really easy. I'm now 57, and it was really, really easy. I didn't have any of those symptoms that women talk about. I had a little bit of hot flashes, but interestingly enough, my daughter and her friends and other people that were nowhere near menopause were also having hot flashes. And I think a lot of it was environmental, to be perfectly honest. So I don't even really think most of my hot flashes were from the menopause, because I had like no other symptoms. I felt so good. I just didn't have any of the symptoms that people talked about. My husband didn't even know I was in menopause. Like, he didn't even know. He never knew when I had my period either. And I never had PMS. So, go figure. This was after I got on like the Weston Price, because I went Weston Price style eating for a long time. But that didn't work for me either. Too many fermented things, too many oxalates. That did not work for me. And then it was going carnivore that I feel like has changed my life. So I'm not going back that way. This is working for me. This is great for me. But what I'm saying is that when your body is healthy, your body makes that transition very easily. You don't need it. Your body just starts upgrading to the 2.0, and you're fine, as long as you've got the right nutrition. If you don't have the right nutrition and the right lifestyle, your body is going to suffer, okay? So you are not estrogen deficient. And by putting estrogen back into the body, you are simply suppressing the problems that you have. And this is just the reality of it. It's a drug. You're now consuming a drug, because your body doesn't want it, your body doesn't need it, which means it's now something your body doesn't want, which is going to cause a lot of problems in the body. So these are the undesirable effects that come with taking synthetic hormones. And, the whole removal of the black box warning, all that stuff. Okay, if you trust these people, I feel sorry for you. Are you familiar at all how this went down and how they removed it? They bypassed every rule that they have to get that black box warning removed. They didn't follow any of their protocols. They basically suspended everything and just did whatever the fuck they wanted. And who was on the panel? They're all anonymous, really? How come we don't know who they are? People need to start questioning things. This is just a way to get more and more people back into the pen, because the slaves are starting to wake the fuck up, and they're starting to move away from the system and make other choices, and they're trying to hook people back in. This is why you see all the ivermectin stuff, all the nicotine stuff, all the Fenben stuff, all the HRT stuff, all of the peptide stuff, all of this quote biohacking shit is flooding into the world right now. None of these videos are getting censored, okay? It's because they know that people want to be healthy. People are trying to leave the system. People are trying to do the right thing, but now they're getting bamboozled and getting sucked back into the chemical world, the big synthetic chemical world. And even if it's not completely synthetic, like, peptides, they're just amino acids. Do you know what amino acids can do? Do you even know? Do you even understand what amino acids are capable of doing to your body? They can have a lot of shitty side effects. They're not side effects. They're just effects. A lot of them are undesirable because they are not the way your body is designed. They are not coming into the body in a way the body is designed for. They come in and they're more like a drug. They are a drug. They absolutely are a drug. Okay. And again, a lot of people are even using natural medicine like a drug. And when you do that, you can start getting into some real trouble because once again, you are only suppressing. You are not addressing the root cause. Okay. Natural medicine is not nutrition. Food is not medicine. Medicine is not food. And people need to stop saying that it is because they are not the same. All right. Food is not medicine. Food is the foundation. Food is the building block or the building blocks. Food is what gives us what the body needs to build, repair, stay healthy, all of those things. Medicine is to intervene when our body needs support and assistance, but it is never supposed to replace proper human nutrition. And this is a huge, huge problem. It's a huge problem. And I see it in the herbal world, the aromatherapy world. People just think they're going to pop all of this stuff, but they're not addressing the root cause. So when you have a respiratory infection, okay, let's say you're pretty healthy. You're a pretty healthy person. You're eating a human appropriate diet. Your lifestyle is good. You're getting some sleep. You're doing all right. But you live by neighbors that, let's say they are spraying their lawns all the time. They're spraying shit. They're mowing all the time. They're leaf blowing all the time. I'm talking about me. Somebody's building something and there's a lot of dust in the air. There's a lot of not cement dust, but like rock dust. I noticed people using a lot of rocks, those little rocks or whatever, and they're shoveling them and the shit's getting in the air. And let's say you went through a rough period of your life where you were under a lot of stress, you weren't getting a lot of sleep or whatever, and maybe your body's a little under the weather. You're a little bit not functioning quite as well. You're tired, you're exhausted, you just were going through some shit. Now all of a sudden you're exposed to all of this stuff that just really, boom, it just knocks your body down. You end up with a respiratory infection, okay? You end up getting fluid in your lungs and you can't breathe well. Yeah, natural medicine saved your life. I've seen it. I've helped a lot of people. I've seen it. I've seen it help my own situation with my COPD. And I didn't get it from smoking, okay? I know what they can do, but they are not supposed to replace foundational necessities, all right? They are to support and heal in moments when we need the support and the healing, but they are not supposed to replace real healing. Okay, I can't say that loud enough. I can't say that enough. Manipulation is not healing. Even though herbs and natural medicine has much better effects than drugs, because again, it's like a symphony. There's hundreds of chemicals all working together and they don't have the narrow, undesirable boom, like the forceful punch that drugs do. And I'm not saying drugs can't have a positive effect, but they have a lot of like negative. Herbs don't work that way. I'm not saying they're benign and I'm not saying that they can't hurt you. I'm not saying any of that. But when they are used appropriately, they work very, very differently in the body, but they are still not a substitute for good nutrition, good lifestyle. And I just can't say this loud enough. All right. So HRT isn't healing you. And if you're okay with that and you're cool with that and you're okay with, all of the undesirables that are going to come with that, have at it. Have at it. I'm not here to preach to people and tell people what to do. I just think people should make informed decisions, okay? Remember, your doctor's not your friend. They're not coming to your funeral when you die, and they're not to be trusted because they work for a system that doesn't put truth out there, okay? They don't. And if you think they're going down rabbit holes to try to educate and inform you, they're absolutely not. They're extremely myopic. They're only learning what the system wants them to know, and you're not being given the rest of the equation, okay? And this is really important to know. And I've talked about this in 2 of my most recent videos. I'll be done in a minute, I promise. Is why so many people are jumping into the sunlight healing community right now, which I personally think they're nuts. I don't think everything they're saying is wrong, but I definitely think they're nuts for the most part. And again, I think that they're promoting kind of a dangerous message for people. And again, go watch my other videos and hopefully it'll make more sense to you. And I think a lot of people are truly wanting to do the right thing and are trying to get informed, and they don't know how to research themselves, and they don't know how to go down those rabbit holes and get information that isn't biased and isn't, isn't myopic, and again, only giving you the information they want you to know, but not giving you the whole spectrum of knowledge that we have at this time. And so my big beef with the dermatology community is that they promote the idea that sun is damaging to our skin, and it is. They're not wrong, but because they don't give proper information, they don't give the whole picture. And they tell people that chemical sunscreens are safe. No, they're not. They've never been proven to be safe. There's not a shred of evidence in the scientific studies that it's safe. As a matter of fact, all of the studies they have done don't look good. They don't look good. A lot of red flags, lots of concerns, okay? So they have not proven themselves to be trustworthy, okay? And when it comes to skin in general, dermatologists don't even understand the role of nutrition and lifestyle and skin health. Like, they've proven themselves to not be trustworthy. So they promote this idea of protecting your skin from the sun, but they're not trustworthy. So now you have people jumping to the sunlight community and they're not trustworthy either. So it's like, oh my gosh, like this is where we're at. It's like people don't have the ability to connect the dots and find things that really make sense because we're not being told the truth. When you're given the truth, or at least as much truth as we have right now, to make decisions about what you want to do, how much sun exposure do you want to get? How do you want to protect your skin from excessive sun exposure? Because it's really important to do that. And what is the difference between white people and people with permanent melanin in their skin? There's a huge difference. And if you are Caucasian, there's even more information you need to know and understand. It's a rabbit hole. People are not given this information. They're not given this information. Okay? And so the dermatology people, one of, not all, because there's a million flaws, okay, millions of them, but one of the main things about their sun narrative is that chemical sunscreens are safe and you should be smearing them on your body multiple times a day, okay? That pisses people off that actually know the truth. It pisses people off. And so they don't trust you. And now they think your entire message is false. So stop doing it. Mineral sunscreens are the only sunscreens that are recognized to be safe and effective. Full stop. To say something is safe when there's no backing, false. Don't do it. It makes you look bad. Now, I don't like dermatologists. You guys know that. We don't align, okay? But they're not wrong when it comes to solar radiation and the skin. We need to protect ourselves, which is why all the ancient people, before the white people showed up, all had melanin. Even the people that lived in the north with shade had permanent melanin, okay? We are an aberration, and of course I've done videos on this, and I go down some rabbit holes, and I talk about some pretty interesting things, okay? But it's a big deal, okay? Humans have to protect themselves from the sun, and nature created a built-in protection mechanism. White people don't have that protective mechanism. We have something different, which is a temporary tan, and there's a lot of problems with that. This is where I get into some interesting theories, okay, which go listen to some of my other videos, but I do get into some interesting theories here. Something's wrong. There's something wrong here. And again, it's something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. Why? And I've done some dot connecting, and I feel like I have a really good working theory to kind of explain some shit that doesn't make sense. And it's not just diet. Okay, it's not just diet. There's a lot of people in the carnivore community. I'm sorry, I passed my extra few minute mark. I hope you guys are okay with this. Just because you eat a carnivore diet, which I'm all for, okay, and you've now got stable fats in your body, not these oxidized, rancid fats and fats that are getting broken down and causing free radicals that cause you to burn more, yes, you are not getting burned as much and your skin can heal better, but you are still not immune to the effects of the solar rays. And the UVA is still coming right through your body and destroying your folate in your blood and causing damage, despite the fact that you're not getting burned. Okay, so these are just the misconceptions that are out there. And we have to be careful that we don't fall for them. We need to be given the truth. Nobody is putting the truth out there in a way that is like, here's the buffet, do what you will with it. But this is the information, this is the physiology, this is what we know. And now you go make your own decision. But to tell somebody that a sunscreen is safe when there's no evidence to prove that is downright irresponsible. Sunlight Healing Community is giving you information that is downright irresponsible because they are not giving you the full story. You cannot make an informed decision without the full picture. And I've already mentioned how much I despise the leader of the band when it comes to that whole topic. Okay, I despise him. And there's a lot of flaws in those ideas as well. Okay, it's not a black and white thing. It's very nuanced. And we need to talk more about the nuances, okay? And it's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal, okay? Because the decisions that we make can be the difference between life and death, getting skin cancer or not, premature aging or not, destroying our folate in our blood, which most of us can absolutely not afford to do. It also destroys other nutrients in the blood as well, okay? Because solar radiation is no joke. Is it necessary for the planet? Absolutely. Do we need some of it? Absolutely. Okay, but there's a lot of nuances and we need to take these into consideration. Okay, so I went a little bit longer than I planned. I do apologize, but I did get off on a little tangent. I hope that I connected some dots for you, and I'll be back, signing out.